Nestling between the southern foothills of the Harz Mountains, the Bleicherode Hills and the Hainleiter Range, the potash heap of the former Bleicherode plant is visible for miles around. The heap was begun in 1940, and by the time potash production came to an end in 1990, roughly 30 million tons of processing residue were piled up here, over 80% of which consisted of water-soluble salts, mainly rock salt. Yet this symbol of our long mining tradition also represents a major ecological hazard. The stored waste is dissolving on account of the rainfall, resulting in a highly concentrated saline solution containing up to 360 grams of salt per liter of fluid. Up to 250,000 cubic meters of potash dump solution have formed each year, meaning that around 90,000 tons of salt has already dissolved. In the past, the solution seeped into the ground, entering the groundwater and feeding into the Border and Wipper rivers, because the heap is not sealed underneath. A deep drainage system has now been installed, which allows roughly 50% of these highly concentrated saline solutions to be collected. The solutions from the southern side flow in pipes through an accessible tunnel beneath the heap to the north side, where they're collected in stacking tanks. Since 2002, NDH-E has been able to make use of all these saline solutions for hydraulic stowing. An intensive search for possible methods of reducing the considerable level of environmental damage began in 1990. Removal of the heap was rejected for cost reasons. A solution was eventually found. The surface would be covered with suitable waste such as uncontaminated excavated soil, building rubble, used foundry sand and subsoil, to prevent large quantities of salt from seeping into the groundwater and surface waters. The subsequent greening would then consume a greater amount of rainwater. This process has received scientific support from a pilot project financed by Deutsche Bundesstiftung Umwelt and Bergwerk Bleicherode. 7 research institutes and universities have explored various options and drawn up reports in collaboration with Bergwerk Bleicherode. The result is an internationally pioneering technique aimed at the complete biological sealing of a salt heap which is harmful to plant life. Of prime importance was the careful checking and harmonization of all aspects of recultivation, and then the incorporation of all these in a single comprehensive plan. The legal basis for recultivation is the Special Operations Plan, which is updated every 3 years in accordance with the Thuringian Potash Heap Guideline. This lists the types of waste and the approval criteria for integration. The vehicles are weighed at the acceptance point and the waste is given a visual inspection. This is where the samples are taken and the relevant documentation checked. Only then are the deliveries admitted. They're registered for dumping at a particular point on the heap. A further visual inspection is carried out at the incorporation point during unloading. The deliverer must take back any prohibited waste. The multiple checks ensure that only the types of uncontaminated waste stipulated in the plan are accepted and used. Unannounced checks are carried out several times a year by the Thuringian State Mining Authority in conjunction with the Thuringian State Office of Administration. Trial holes are dug and samples taken for analysis.
Da wir ohne finanzielle Zuschüsse des Bundes bzw. des Landes arbeiten, kann eine Verschärfung der rechtlichen Rahmenbedingungen unsere Rekultivierungsarbeiten deutlich einschränken und sogar unsere Erfolge zunichte machen. Die Befürchtung, dass die zur Kalihaldenabdeckung verwendeten Abfälle eine neue Gefahrenquelle darstellen, sind völlig unbegründet. Erstens werden nur genehmigte Abfälle angenommen, die unsere Annahmewerte einhalten. Zweitens ist vor Erstanlieferung der Abfälle eine Analyse vorzulegen. Und drittens erfolgt eine strenge Überwachung und ständige Vorortkontrolle der zuständigen Behörden.
Before they leave the site, dirt-encrusted vehicles can drive through a tire wash to avoid soiling the public roads. The covering is undertaken in individual berms, which start or end with a road. This ensures the stability of the covering. The berms are built up in 3 layers. The first layer is the capillary breaking layer, which prevents the salt from rising. The second layer is the contouring layer, which holds the rainfall. The third layer is the nutrient-rich culture layer, where grass is sown and trees and bushes can be planted. This structure ensures that the rainfall is held in the covering and that only a very small amount enters the saline potash heap itself. This greatly reduces the further release of salts. Different materials such as uncontaminated excavated soil and compost are used to produce soil substrate, which is homogenized using a rotary screen and then applied as a culture layer to the profile slopes using wheel loaders. In the last few years, a number of different berms have been developed and sown, and then planted in the autumn or spring. Numerous trees and bushes, almost 100,000 to date, have been planted as part of the greening project. Covering the potash heap has already significantly reduced the amount of solutions being released. However, further reductions can only be achieved by consistently implementing the recultivation plans. Over 60 different types of tree and bush have been planted to ensure a wide variety of flora. As a result, different species of wildlife, including rabbits, foxes, deer, partridge and kestrels, have now become resident. Two nesting boxes for kestrels have also proved successful, and many other species of bird have since taken up residence on the recultivated part of the heap. Close links have been established with the Nordhausen University of Applied Sciences and the Bleicherode Secondary School as part of an environmental education measure. Activities here include the establishment of a Trees of the Year nature trail and an insect hotel. The construction of a photovoltaic system on the heap has opened up a new area of business and made a significant contribution to the environment-friendly energy policy.
Mittlerweile sind wir dazu übergegangen, eine industrielle Nachnutzung für die Halde zu schaffen. Durch einheimische Unternehmen wurde eine leistungsstarke 1,2 Megawatt Peak Photovoltaikanlage errichtet. Wir leisten damit einen Beitrag zur Nutzung erneuerbarer Energien hier am Standort in Bleicherode.
The changes brought about by the recultivation are clearly visible and have aroused a great deal of interest in the area. People out walking during the Bergmansfest take the opportunity to see for themselves what has been achieved so far. Seating areas have been installed which are ideal for relaxing and enjoying the view of this newly created landscape. Further implementation of the heap recultivation plan and continuation of our successful work are greatly helping to minimize the saline contamination of the ground and surface waters, and represent the basis for further integration of the heap into the overall landscape.